All right, so
JP.
the bet was, and I set it at 6.5, that your two reviews on Fist Fight and The Great Wall would be at 6.5 or higher. JP went under. We bet $1 on it. So before you actually do the reviews, can you give us the total review, the total number of
And I
stars?
also said I had an idea that if you gave The Great Wall higher than 2.5, we should just hang up on you.
Okay. So wait, so the combined rating of Great Wall and Fist Fight you have at 6.5 or higher, Jason.
Correct.
Okay. The combined ratings for both of those films is 5.5.
Oh! All right. That was the original number, I guess.
See, and knowing him, he's going to give
Papa
Great Wall
squeak.
higher than the 2.5, even though it doesn't deserve it, because he interviewed Matt Damon.
All right, let's start with Great Wall then.
First of all, that's not the case at all, JP, and you couldn't be more wrong about my life. Thank you. But yeah, I try to keep an ethical element in regards to my movie reviews, even if I interview somebody. The Great Wall is a film starring Matt Damon, directed by the guy who did Hero, the film that with Jet Li back in 2002, I believe. And the idea behind the film is all it is Matt Damon's character defending the Great Wall of China against these mythical creatures. It's a fantasy action film. Here's the thing. It's visually cool. I mean, it looks amazing. They built a 1 kilometer scale wall in regards to like trying to recreate that for the audience. The action looks cool. It's visually pleasing.
That's
the problem
$1
is
for Valdez.
Matt Damon is so like the accent changes in this film were terrible, and I thought that the script was bad. The problem with the script is that it over-explains everything, so it almost pretends like the audience is an idiot. Like it thinks that we don't know what we're watching, so you're sitting there being explained to what you're watching on screen. So then you have these amazing visuals, which are really cool to watch, and the action scenes work, and you have this horrible script and a terrible accent from Matt Damon. So for me, half the film worked, the other half didn't. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. I thought that visually it works. I will say this, 3D, I'm not a huge 3D conversion fan where they shoot a movie in 2D and then they convert it later on.
Yes,
This had some of the best 3D conversion I've seen in a long time. It looks cool, just sounds terrible. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
Just so you know,
Right.
Valdez gets a point or $1. I don't know if anybody actually consummated the bet because he predicted that you would say that the movie would look visually cool.
I think I owe him $1.
I was actually backing off because I think last week when you talked about the trailer, you said the CGI looked awful.
Yeah, what's funny is the trailers make it look like a cheesy video game. So like a lot of the effects in the trailers, well, here's what happens with movie studios and movies is they release movie trailers before the movies are finished. So for example, like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which has a trailer out right now, has some very unfinished visual effects, and a lot of films do that. But when you sit down and actually watch the film, they finish everything out. There are still some scenes where the creatures do look a little bit video gamey, but overall, I thought the visual aspect was very cool.
Did you ask Damon why? Because we talked about this earlier. He's made about 40 movies, and most of them are pretty damn good. Did you ask him why what struck him about this script that he wanted to do it? I don't. It wasn't just a money grab. I don't believe.
You know what's funny is Matt Damon. When I first started doing interviews years ago, one of the things he told me was that he goes, I know a movie of mine isn't good if the person walks in and asks me about my personal life first before going into the film. And I think I got a sense now when I interview him that I could tell whether he or knows the movie's not good. And I think this is a film that he knows isn't great, but I don't think it's not horrible. I don't think he took the role because of money. I think he took it because he wanted to work with the director, who this guy's like a legendary filmmaker.
All right, let's see if Cakes was paying attention and can do the math. What is his rating for Fist Fight?
Hold on, he said it's 5.5. He gave that 2.5. So that means Fist Fight gets a 3. Think about that.
Silly.
Silly.
And
It's good math by Cakes.
Matt Valdez was asking me how this movie is. This is one of those films that is so absurdly funny and stupid and over the top. It's like you have these two teachers, Ice Cube and Charlie Day. Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, who's fantastic. I love him. He brings such a great energy to the screen. But they're teachers, and Cube gets fired. Charlie Day is partially responsible, so he says he's going to fight him. Ice Cube wants to fight him after school at 3 p.m. And it's an R-rated film. I mean, there is language beyond language and raunchy humor in this movie. I don't think any of it was particularly memorable, but I will say, as I sat in the theater, I definitely laughed out loud a few times. And I think that if you're an R-rated raunchy comedy fan, like a lot of people are, I think you will enjoy what you watch. I don't think it's worth spending $12, $15 to see it at a nighttime showing. I would probably go to a matinee and see it as a 3 out of 5. I don't think it's anything you're going to walk away from and go, man, that was one of the best comedies ever, but you will laugh during the movie. So I do think it's worth seeing if you're a fan of R-rated comedies.
Is this Tracy Morgan's first film since the accident?
I think so. I just sat down with him a couple weeks ago. He obviously he has such a very specific brand of humor, but he like in interviews he completely throws you off. Like I don't know if he does it on purpose, but he'll just change the subject. He'll bring up something super random, completely throws the interview off the rails. But yeah, this is the first time I've interviewed him since the accident. The first time I saw him since the accident was the Kennedy Center Honors. He seems like he's doing fine.